Hello, how you all doing? My name is Mercedes Johnson. I am the author of Her Story, Breaking Through Darkness. I would really like to encourage those of you who have not purchased my book to purchase it. You are able to get it from my website, www.authormercedesjohnson.com. You go to that website and you will see my book and you will be able to purchase it there. You also will be able to purchase it from Amazon, but I strongly recommend you to purchase it from my website. Once again, www.authormercedesjohnson.com. Once again, the name of my book is Her Story, Breaking Through Darkness. So, speaking about my book, Her Story, Breaking Through Darkness, for those of you who have already purchased my book, you will see that I speak a lot about rejection. I speak a lot how, as a child, I dealt and suffered with rejection. So today, I want to briefly talk to you specifically about that topic, rejection. So, as I stated in my book, for those of you who have already read it or who was in the process of reading it, my mother and my father, they had me at a very young age. My father was 16 years old. My mother was 17. So they were teenage parents. My father went to prison when I was 4 years old and left me and my mother alone. The fact that my mother was young, in other videos I have made mention that I'm from Chicago, I'm from the project. So when you are in an environment of such, there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of fighting, violence, all that stuff. And so with that being said, my mother drank a lot. And so since my mother was young, since my mother was a single parent, and she drank a lot, she partied a lot. So with her time being occupied by those things, it left me by myself. And so since it left me by myself, me and my mother did not build a relationship or build a mother and a daughter relationship. Our relationship was not built on bonding time. It was not built on, a mother giving her child words of affirmation and things of that nature. There were times when we did bond, but the relationship was not built on that. Our relationship was built mostly on rejection. Since my mother spent so much time away from me, it left me as a child from the ages, in my book I speak from the ages of 4 to 9 years old. So from the beginning stages of 4 years old, the relationship that me and my mother built as from the time I can remember was built on rejection. It left me with thoughts of wondering if my mother really loved me, or why is it that she's able to spend time with her friends, and why is it that she's able to spend time drinking, doing all of these things, but when it came to spending time with me, her time was limited. And so since her time was limited, it left me by myself. And when it left me by myself, it left me thinking or contemplating on thoughts, fighting thoughts of if my mom loved me, or why is she treating me this way? All these crazy thoughts, but those thoughts stemmed from rejection. Those thoughts stemmed from abandonment. Those thoughts stemmed from the longing, the wanting, and the desire of a relationship with my mother. And so with that, as you all, those of you who have read my book, my mother was killed when I was 9 years old. And so it's as if when she was killed at 9 years old, though she was gone, as a child, I wasn't able to grieve properly. I wasn't able to really, should I say, miss her, because my mind, the only thing I can remember from the relationship between my mother and I was the fact that she never had time for me, was the fact that she always, was being rejected. I was being abandoned. She spent more time with her friends, all of these things. And so with my mother, when my mother died, when she was killed, it took me years upon years to really sit and say, wait, your mother did love you. Your mother loved you the best way that she could. Your mother took care of you the best way that she knew how. It took me years. I mean, my mother was killed in the year of 2000. It took me to the year of 2014 up till now for me to actually sit down to say, wait, my mom do love me, and my mother did love me. Though she wasn't able to express it the way that I probably needed her to, that doesn't mean that she did not love me. And so when rejection took root in my life, I wasn't even able to grieve because I was angry. I was angry because in my head I was like, well, you wasn't a good mother, or why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? I spent so much time blaming her for not being the mother that I felt or thought that I needed at that time. And so when she was killed, instead of grieving, instead of grieving, crying, things of that nature, I allowed rejection to build into anger, into hatred, and to bitterness and things of that nature. And so I'm getting ready to end this video, but I want to encourage someone: do not allow rejection to steal your relationship, you and your mother, you and your father, you and whoever's relationship. Don't let rejection steal your happiness. Don't allow rejection to steal your sense of belonging, or the desire of wanting to be in a relationship with anyone. Because that what happened to me. Because my mother rejected me, because I felt rejected and abandoned from my mother, the person who was supposed to love me and things of that nature. As I got older, I wasn't able to develop relationships with men or women, especially not women, because in my head, the woman that was supposed to love me, my mother, rejected me. So when it came to other people, my defense mechanism was to not allow anyone to get close to me, because I allowed rejection to tell me that any person that I allowed to get close to me was going to hurt me and reject me like my mother did. But it really took the love of God. It took the counsel of God. It took me really sitting down and looking not just at my situation, but looking at my mother's situation, and beginning to understand that your mother loved you, and the fact that you're continuing to hold on to this rejection, the fact that you are continuing to hold on what she did not do, you are now placing yourself in a place or a mental state of being selfish and stubborn, because I began to only think about myself and not to think about my mother, not thinking about her condition, not thinking about the circumstances, not thinking about her upbringing, not thinking about what she went through, and the fact that she was raising me the only way she knew how. So I want to encourage you: don't allow rejection to steal your relationship with your mother, your father, whoever the case may be. Don't allow rejection to steal your relationship. Don't be like me, who waited years to recognize that, hey, wait, my mother do love me. It took me 14 plus years to even go through the grieving process to say, hey, I miss my mother, because of rejection. So don't let rejection win. So I'm Mercedes Johnson, the author of Her Story, Breaking Through Darkness. This is my book. You are able to get it from www.authormercedesjohnson.com. Peace.